everyone, my name is Nicola and I am simply a stitcher. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, it's lovely to have you, and if you are returning, thank you very much for coming back and spending a little more time, I don't know what I was going to say then, with me today. So today I am working on my Heaven and Earth design. I'm sure you'll recognise this without me showing the mock-up. This is Maui Princess, and I am working this on 25 count even weave, 1/1 full cross. So I'm going to get on and do a little stitchy time and have a little chat. I've got a couple of questions and you'll catch up on some comments. So yeah, it's yeah, I'm just gonna crack on. Okay. Oh, right, so I hope everybody is well. We're not bad here, just a little tired. It's been a tiring few days. Just zoom in a tiny touch. We've had a few things though to go on, really. We had the Coronation last weekend, which was ring fence for us as a family day. It's like I said before, whatever you're feeling on monarchy, it's a moment in history, isn't it? So we had obviously all my girls here and we all watched it together, and then I did an afternoon tea, so sandwiches, scones and what have you, which was rather nice and went down very well. Yeah, we just sort of, spent that time together, watching proceedings in the Abbey, which was quite nice. So that was the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, again, it was another reasonably quiet day. My stepdad come over as usual and had his meal with us, and as I said in my floss tube, there was some overtime at work, and it was on over the weekend as well, so I did a little bit of overtime as well, but I still made sure I got plenty of stitchy time in. And then on Monday here in the UK, we had an extra bank holiday because of the King's coronation. So that was rather nice. Let me just reposition here because my stand seems to be moving. That's it. And that day we didn't plan or do anything really sort of as a family. I just sort of did my regular Monday things, which were my supermarket shop, and then did some stitching. But of course stitching is an everyday thing for me. I try not to let a day pass without me picking up a needle. So that was my weekend and bank holiday. I got in some really good progress on my night cafe when it was out, because it was actually in the rotation to be out on the Sunday and the Monday, and between those 2 days I got 3,310 stitches in, and still managed to work a little bit on the Realis dogs piece. I want to sort of try and keep working on the Realis piece, but I've slowed it down a little bit. Rather than I mean, last week I was off on annual leave, which gave me extra time to work on it. I'm back in work this week, so therefore I don't have that extra time. So I have slowed down on it. This week back at work has been again a fairly busy week. There's been overtime, so I've worked overtime also. So I've only really done my 500 full coverage and then an hour or so on my dog's piece this week. I'm doing some overtime today before my shift, hence why this is like 6:30. Excuse me, 6:30 in the morning. And here I am stitching. So yeah, I had a day in the office yesterday. Went in and saw my colleagues, which was lovely, and I saw some colleagues I've not seen for a few months, which was even nicer. And my team manager is getting married this month, so we also took some gifts for him and his bride-to-be. We took him a nice bottle of champagne for him to crack open with her when they're ready. And I was nominated to collect in the money and get the gift. And I also got a photo frame for them as well, so they can, for a nice picture, and a card signed from the team. And it was lovely. He was so appreciative, and he said to me, look, getting married, you deserve it. It's, I mean, I would say it's a once in a lifetime occasion, but I think for very many people now, I mean, me and Andy, it's my second marriage, it's his second marriage, and I think it's becoming more commonplace now. So, but yeah, and as I was coming home yesterday, it was I mean, I didn't get home until sort of nearly 7 o'clock, which is, for me, is a long day, so. But anyway, oh, I forgot to get my threads out. I took this piece into the office yesterday, stitched on my lunch break. As I would normally stitch at home, I took it with me because it's on a hoop. I can transport it. So I thought, yeah, why not? Saves me going off out and going shopping in my dinner break. So let's have a look and see. What kind of comments that I've had recently. Okay, so my last chatty stitch with me was with Envy, and I had a few comments come up on that, and I thought, I'll park those for this stitch with me. So last time we talked about how Andy was in Cambridgeshire and Norfolk, and one of my subscribers lives very close to where he was, which was quite what's the word? Words are hard in the morning. I can't think of the word. It's like a happy coincidence. That's it. Serendipitous. That's it. And I was also talking about French knots. Had a couple of comments that yes, a French knot tutorial would be helpful, and I think also on that video as well I've been asked about backstitch, so I'll probably do a how do I do backstitch type sort of piece as well in that. So I'll try and get that done in the next sort of couple of weeks. I don't know when. It'll be whenever it is. One of those things. Be done when it's done. Lots of other people as well said that they were doing the same as us, and we're going to be tuning into the Coronation. And I mean, it's lovely to know that some of my subscribers are overseas, and you know, I should imagine that lots of people around the world viewed the Coronation. I know several people who were streaming it on YouTube. So, oh, child coming downstairs, I think. Morning, Lauren. Oh dear. One of those mornings. It is a Friday. Somebody else again has asked me, Linda, about what size needles I use. She noticed that I got a different size needle when I was doing my stitch along with Envy, and I don't have any particular science with needles, I have to say. I just pick up a needle, and if it feels comfortable to stitch with it, I stitch with it. I don't discriminate in terms of size. I found myself that I do prefer a slightly larger needle because they're longer and easier to hold. I have worked in the past with very thin, fine needles. On 28 count, I have to have a fine needle. So in Pandemic, it's on 28 count, and it does have a fine needle. But other than that, it's just pot luck as to what's available. Needles will come out of kits usually, and I just use whatever's comfortable. And that's what I'd say to anybody when they're looking at a needle. It's comfortable for you. If it's not putting holes, making the holes in the fabric bigger, these holes, if it's not, when you push it through, if it's not increasing the size of the holes, like this here, look, you can get the eye through back, it's not, by the time that I've done the other stitches in, that thread has moved back. It's not increased the holes, not made the holes in the fabric any bigger. It's game to use. And of course, slightly bigger means that the thread's going to go through a little bit easier, and there's less chance of it knotting up as well, or going through the thread that's already in the hole and splitting the thread, which I do find is something that can happen. So yeah, no exact science. It's just what I'm comfortable with. um, Somebody's asked about gridding as well. This is actually a comment on one of my early videos. For gridding, 9 times out of 10, I'll get a pre-gridded fabric. I've got some bolts of fabric, and generally speaking, they are pre-gridded. But even with this, you can see that this one is pre-gridded, the pink lines, and they're in 20 by 20 stitches blocks, and I have gridded a line in between. Now, I only use this on full coverage or on fabric that is white, and I certainly wouldn't use it on hand-dyed fabric, because I know some people have had problems. This is what I would use. It's called a friction, and it's a heat erasable pen, and it's a ball tip, so you can get a fine line. These pens are not cheap. They're about, in England, this one is a 4-colour version, and this pen is like £15, so it's not cheap, but it's heat and friction erasable, and this is a rubber on the end. So if I just go to sort of here, so when I rub this and rub it quite hard, and the friction from it creates heat, as you can see there, the lines disappeared. Or you can use an iron or hair straighteners or any heat source, and it will come out quite easily on, but I would only use it, as I said, on full coverage or on white fabric, because I have used it on my non-full coverage. It's marking the middle of the dog show, and oh, Mr. Stitch. It's marking the middle of dog show, and I've used it on some of my non-full coverages as well. But wash it, iron it, and it does come out. From what I understand, because of what this pen and the ink is made of, in extreme variances of temperature, the lines may come back. But here in the UK, we don't get extreme cold, you know, as sort of, you know, into the minuses for many days, and we don't get extreme heat. Well, I mean, we had a few days of it last year, but you know, I have seen and read for some people that the lines can reappear. So it's just what I would do. You know, should do your research with something like this, and if it is something that you're happy to use, you can get the friction pen from Amazon. So that's my gridding. But like I said, generally speaking, I try and use gridded fabric. I'm using the gridding pen on this because of me working 1/1. Okay, so am I getting close to the bottom on Envy? Is another question that I was asked. Well, Envy is 600 stitches high or deep, and I'm currently at 510, so I'm not that far away from the bottom, which will be quite good when I get to the bottom. This piece, I'm at 370 stitches down, and it is 543 deep, so not a million miles away from the bottom on this. I do like to sort of, you know, get to the bottoms, and I know I've been saying for Envy for a while I want to get to the bottom. With me finishing my start and finish earlier this month, because it will be finished earlier, I'll probably get some more stitching time in, certainly on this one, maybe on one or two of the other pieces as well. The more stitching the better. So also was asked about the neighbour and what was happening with the car over the road. Haven't heard anything since. They do know who was doing it. The car is not always parked outside. I think the chap who lives there just finds somewhere else to park it overnight to prevent a repeat. But as far as I know, there's been no more damage since. We've also had new people move into the house directly opposite, and they have a couple of dogs that like to bark. So I should imagine that if somebody does come around, that those dogs might alert as well. So yeah, all quiet on the western fronts, as it were. I've also been asked, will I pull out and finish London if I get the dogs finished early? Yes, I will if I get an opportunity. Pandemic is also still awaiting some work on it as well. But with June not having a start and finish, I might just, you know, get Pandemic out and try and get closer to a finish on that. But also, yes, I will be finishing London. Whether it's this month or next, I haven't decided yet. Let's see what I feel like. It's only some backstitch, but it's backstitch with glow-in-the-dark thread, which, whilst glow-in-the-dark is not as difficult as metallic thread to work with, it's not easy either because it's slightly elastic. So it does need a little bit of care when you're using it. They fit them well. Don't go to then. So I had a lovely comment as well a few days ago, and I have to share this one because it put a huge smile on my face when I saw it. YouTube recommended the video to this commenter, and she said she's not sure quite as to why, because she doesn't normally interact with hobby videos. This was on my floss tube. But she describes my video as wholesome, and the pieces that I'm working on are fabulous. And it's lovely to know that I'm even reaching beyond the stitching community now. And you know, this lady has commented that, you know, that she enjoyed my video, which is rather lovely. So thank you so much for your comment, and do stick around. I've got plenty more videos. An end come through there. That's it. That's got it. Envy seems to be a bit of a favourite for amongst people as well. Norma asked, what do I do with my pieces when I finished them? Well, I do a couple of things. I've gone wrong here. Some I keep and frame. Some I gift. I have donated to like charity auctions and stuff in the past. Some I stitch for others at their request. But me and Andy at some point in the future will be looking at a forever home, so I'm keeping some back as wall decorations. Are you off? I'll see you later. Have a good day. So it's really dependent on, you know, why I'm stitching it in the first place. I also had a lovely surprise. I was on my way into the office yesterday. No, I've done it again. I don't often buy a stitching magazine these days because very often there's nothing much in them that I want to stitch. However, I decided to buy this month's cross-stitching magazine, or rather the cross-stitching magazine that was published this month. It's the June issue, even though we're still in early May. And I'm sat on the tram going to work, reading through it, and I open up the letters page because I like to look at the letters page, and in there they have like I think it's called Over to You or something like that. Now, I follow Cross Stitching Magazine on Facebook, and they often put out a question, and the question was, how much stitching do you need to do, to feel happy? Well, for me, I was straight in there, and I'm like, as much as I can. I stitch in the morning before work. I stitch during what would be my dinner break, what would be my travel time, because now I work from home. I utilise that time, and I've still kept the same routine as though I were going into the office. And it was published. The comment was published in the magazine. I was like, didn't know about that. Excuse me. So yeah, it's not the first time, because I was published, I think it was in World of Cross Stitching, with another tip, and that was what do you do when you've run out of steam on a project. And I put, well, you just resolving your stitching to do a little bit before you really sort of start, and a little bit at the end. Before you know it, you've probably done more. So yeah, been published a couple of times. Speaking of publishing, if you're following me on Instagram, you may have noticed a post of mine that I am looking at potentially opening an Etsy shop. I'm going to be doing some stuff in there for Andy for his channel, as he's visiting every county in the UK to cover the villages, or every county in England. I'm going to be putting in some cross-stitch patterns of county flags. But I want to ask you guys, rather than you asking me the questions, I'm going to ask you, what kind of things do you want to see in cross-stitch pattern? What kind of subjects? I mean, obviously things like Disney and stuff, artwork that needs to be licensed is a bit of a no-no, but what kind of things do you like to stitch? Animals, still life, scenery, nature, people, places. Yeah, and I'm open to any suggestions. I'm not terribly creative, but I do have a daughter who's an artist, and she's already provided me with some artwork, which I'm looking at also get converted and put in the store when I've created the Etsy store. But times it's premium at the minute because I'm doing overtime and so on. But yeah, I'm open to whatever suggestions will be forthcoming. So I think that's all of my comments now anyway. But do keep them coming because, like I said before, I do find it interesting. I think the only one I haven't touched on is Karen's comment, Needlebug Karen. And yes, Karen, if I get over there, I'm going to come and see you. You're my kind of lady, and I'd sit with you all afternoon and stitch away. And even though we're kind of across the water from each other, it's like we've known each other for years, and that's what I love. This community is so good. You know, I have people contact me on Instagram and, you know, have a little chat with me, or, you know, I've had people send me pictures of what they're doing with my videos in the background and all sorts, and it's lovely. I absolutely love it. And yeah, it's nice to get, as I said before, the lovely positive feedback. And literally, as I'm filming this video, I've got messages coming through from Instagram from a lady I've been talking to who has started a new kit, and you know, asked me what I thought, and we had a little chat about it, and yeah. I was looking at a post on Facebook the other day. It was quite funny. This lady had something like 20 odd projects with a total of 3.1 million stitches to be done, and she reckons that she stitches for about 12 hours a week, so about 1,200 stitches a week, because she works on, you know, a base of 100 stitches an hour. And she'd done some calculations and worked out that, you know, she would be finished in 5 years. Unfortunately, the maths was a little bit off, and it was going to be more like nearly 50 years before she would complete those, and that is without buying anything else or doing anything else or getting any sort of distraction. And Angie and I were looking at my current work in progress pile, and if I work on 1,000 full coverage a day, which I'm not doing at the moment because I'm doing my monthly start and finishes, with how my projects stand right now, today, we would be looking at a finish in about 8 years. So that's for this one, so Maui Princess, for Envy, for She Sleeps, for the Realm of Middle Earth, for the Night Cafe, and for the Stitching Shelf. We'd be looking at 8 years before those are finished. So stitching is definitely a long-term project, however you look at it. I mean, this lady was very good-natured when, it was pointed out to her that the maths was off. But yeah, going from 5 years to sort of, I think it worked out at 49.5 years or something at the rate she was stitching. I think she was a little taken aback. So yes, if you're looking for a hobby in the long term, stitching's definitely for you. Got the two little ones here this weekend, and I'm also doing overtime again, but I'll still get probably more stitches than expected in. I'm certainly aiming to put in some extra full coverage ones this weekend. Either that or just have a push and see about getting the dogs finished, and then I can focus on the full coverage then for the rest of the month. Haven't decided yet. I kind of don't want to do too much on the dogs, but I want to get it finished. It's a real double-edged sword. Andy's been busy this week editing his videos from his trip away, and some more he's done since. So yeah, I think he's a little tired though at the moment, and probably could do with a little extra sleep. It's getting milder here as well. It's warmed up a little bit. We've had some days of really nice weather, but we've also had a fair amount of rain. I'm just hoping it's going to be a pleasant summer. We've got another bank holiday at the end of this month. That's a late May bank holiday. So that'll be another day, another stitchy day. And then that's it for us here in the UK for bank holidays until August. And then August is the last bank holiday until the Christmas ones. been busy at work again as well, hence the overtime. I checked in briefly with my boss when I was on my annual leave, and the first day that I was on annual leave, they had almost a record day for the number of calls and live chat into the department that I work for. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope it's not like that when I go back on Tuesday. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But I was like, wow. So, yeah. Hey, if it keeps me in a job, it means the department's... we're not going to be out of a job, are we? If there's that many... there's a lot of calls and stuff still to manage. I don't mind doing the overtime because it's queue work, it's, admin type tasks, which are dead easy. And we just need to make sure that we're being productive. But I think now I've worked from home for so long, a lot of people are like, oh, working from home must be a terrible distraction. But it's actually not, and I'm probably more productive working from home now because I'm so used to it. I know that once I sit at my laptop, that's it, it's my working day, and do not disturb, and the family don't interrupt me unless it's something urgent. My relatives know not to come during my working day because my home becomes my office. So I don't find that I'm distracted, which is a good thing. And I keep my office in my dining room, so it's not a room that I'm in for anything other than work and having a meal, because I use my sitting room for everything else, really. So I've got a separation from work, and I make a point that when I'm having my breaks and my lunch, that I come away from my workstation as well, and I just, physically separate myself. Three years we were sat in the office saying yesterday. It's 3 years, 2 months since we started working from home, and I think many of us were expecting to be back in the office after a couple of months. We were initially told that we'd be working from home for 6 weeks, and then it'd be 4 months, and then we'd be back in the office for Christmas. But before Christmas even came, we were then, all moved to work from home, and that was that, and that's been the way ever since. So when I went into the office yesterday, because most of us are like sort of hybrid working. We don't all go into the office on the same day, and we've got an office where your hot desk, you don't have a permanent workstation. All desks are exactly the same, and you just go to whichever one is available. And so because the type of work I do in the office that I'm in, we don't take anything personal, so there's no like office desk with a picture of the family or anything like that. It doesn't work like that. There is just literally a blank desk with a screen, and you plug your laptop in and off you go. And yesterday was probably the busiest I've seen that office, because now with so many people working from home, people don't go in, or people go in on different days. There's also sort of 5 floors in the building, and you don't see much of the other floors, so oh yeah, it was good to go in though. There we go. I'll pop in a few more stitches and then I'm going to finish this one off, because as I said, I am doing some overtime today, and my computer is still packed away from transporting it into the office yesterday, so I've got to unpack and do an extra bit of setting up this morning. So just pop in a few more stitches and then I shall clear off and crack on. But I do say it every video, and I just kind of want to reiterate, I want to thank everybody for the support and for coming back here week on week and watching my videos. If you haven't subscribed, then do so. And all I ask is, it is free to subscribe, and all I ask is that if you do get the opportunity to just take the time and watch another video of mine, it's much appreciated. Do leave a comment if you like the video as well. Do give it a thumbs up, helps me reach more people via YouTube's algorithm. And we know that algorithm's working because of the lovely lady commenting this week. So she's probably flooded now with floss tube videos, bless her, because she's clicked on one, because I know that's sometimes how the algorithm is. But it's great she found mine, and I'm just chuffed. So just getting these few in, and then we'll have done 175. It goes so quick when I'm talking. It doesn't look like I've done 175 stitches, I tell you. It doesn't feel like I've done 175 stitches, but that's what Pattern Keeper's telling me. And I'm almost at 48% on this piece now. So my next job with this one is getting it over the 50% line, which if I'd managed to get in some extra stitches, that ain't going to be far away. Just a couple more to do. So yeah, so that's it from me. Floss tube on Tuesday, as usual. I think Tuesday. Unless I get some overtime, then I'll be doing it early on Monday evening instead. Yeah, so floss tube on Tuesday, and then a couple of stitch with me's next week, as usual, there will be an ASMR and a alternative. Had to think there. Yeah, 175 stitches in. So yeah, progress is there, that black lining, and starting up the next section of hair. So yeah, take care, happy stitching, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.